getting money, but keeping your money, because theft is a big thing, but not in the way most people think. Tell me a little bit about it.
We're getting hit with it. I would say to the left, to the right. We're seeing it in almost every angle, from our Facebooks to our phone calls to home phones and emails and things like that. It's like, man, these people are just looking to get dollars out of us, and we have to be on the front end and take precautions.
Absolutely. Now, let's get into the specifics of what we're talking about here. What are high-pressure scams?
Well, some of it's going to come from, one thing I will say the key is because we're getting ready to go into tax time, so it can really hone in on an IRS type scam. And that can prey on, especially our retiree type generation that feel a little bit more vulnerable. And those high pressure tactics of almost being forced, it's like, hey, you owe, or we're going to send the police by. And it's like, well, what do we do? And it's, I've fielded hundreds of these calls, and even calls from even clients that are like, hey, whoa, is this taken care of? And, you find out, this is just a scammer on the other line that's trying to pressure you into getting, an account number, a social security number, things of that nature. It's one of these things where I want to tell people, it's like, just take a step back for a second and take a breath and just breathe and think it through before you make any rash decisions like that.
Absolutely. And break down for us, if you could, one way to pay scams.
Well, it's funny, in some of these high pressure tactics that they're coming at us is, they're looking at it, it's like, hey, if you could just get a gift card, we'll get this taken care of for you. It's like, wait, when's the IRS going to say, we'll take a Walmart or a Best Buy gift card or an American Express gift card, and we'll kind of get those payments taken care of? Something doesn't add up, and now we're starting to see payment requests for, like, through Bitcoin, through Cash App, through Venmo, and things like that can be quick and easy for somebody just to hit their phone and make a quick payment, and then not even realize they just sent their info and just paid a scammer out.
And scammers also tend to play on emotions. Explain a little bit more about that.
We are seeing this almost every single day, and where they're getting us, especially through Facebook, is what we're seeing it. And the most common ones that I'm seeing today are, here's an injured dog or an injured kitten or something like that. It's like, hey, we hit this dog at such and such street, and they're giving legitimate, Shreveport, Bossier locations, and come to find out that person's not even from here. But what they're doing is they're getting hundreds of people to share these, because it tugs on our heartstrings.
Right.
It's like, oh my gosh, somebody, lost their dog, or I've seen missing, seniors, or a child hurt in an accident. It's like, oh, he's from Shreveport, or, so-and-so's from Shreveport. We need to help and spread the word. 2 or 3 days later, after the scammer gets a couple hundred shares, what they're looking for, then they go back in and they change the content. And now it looks like everybody, to your friends that are on your little Facebook page, that you shared, this content, and people go, oh, well, Susie shared that, and I know Susie. Well, let me take a look at it.
Oh, wow.
And it ends up being, malicious or scam content that hurts them as well. They're getting really, really good at this, at tugging on our heartstrings.
Right. So aside from, playing on our emotions and knowing that things are changing, what are some of the red flags, aside from pay as you go as well? What are some of the red flags for people to look for when they're...
one of the first things I will tell people to absolutely do is, for one, pay attention, because your credit card companies aren't going to be calling, your banks are not going to be calling you asking, and specifically directly over the phone, hey, let's verify your account information, or what's your social security number. Let's take a step back and maybe go find that bank card, or call your local branch and say, hey, we have an issue with an account. I'm not sure if this is a true issue, or is this a scammable thing? And it's a big red flag. And it's like, I really just want to tell people, it's like, hey, just pause and pump the brakes for a little bit, breathe, maybe pull out your bank card, let's look at the number on the back, and let's start from there before we start giving answers out over the phone to somebody we might not be able to verify immediately. It might sound legit, but at the end of the day, it's really not.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Evans. We appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me on.
The rain continues overnight on the next 12 on 12, and it is going to intensify going into early tomorrow morning. Another